Ladies and gentlemen, so the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden is coming up very quickly. We're about, 3 days away now. And yesterday, one of Trump's spokespersons went on CNN because they are the ones hosting the debate. And she went on CNN and they're having, a nice conversation. And this individual, Trump's spokesperson, Karine Levitt, I believe is how you say her name, started to bring up this concerning fact about one of the moderators of the debate, Jake Tapper. Or a lot of you guys call him Fake Tapper. Trump calls him Fake Tapper. I call him Fake Tapper as well. But she brought up this idea that, maybe Jake Tapper isn't the greatest person to moderate this debate because he spent years spewing out garbage about Donald Trump. And some of this garbage included comparing him to one of the worst people that you could compare someone to in history. You guys all know who that is. It is Adolf Hitler. Well, the host, her name's Casey. I forgot her last name, but she is the CNN host. She actually warned the Trump spokesperson, hey, if you keep talking about this, if you keep bad-mouthing my colleague, I am going to cut you off. I'm going to push you off the show. And that is exactly what she did. Moments later, when Trump's spokesperson tried to argue, like, hey, listen, no, this is actually a very fair point that I'm raising. But they don't care. CNN does not care about these fair points. They want the past to remain the past because they know that their credibility with the public is falling very quickly. But the problem is, this is the whole reason why their credibility is going in the garbage, because they refuse to acknowledge what they have done in the past, and they refuse to say, listen, we were wrong. But listen to this exchange between this Trump spokesperson and the CNN host.
So it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently
stop this interview if you're going to keep attacking my colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this debate.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Yes, when faced with their own hypocrisy, when faced with their own lies and trash that they spew out into the public, remember back in the day, like 10 years ago, the public perception of the media was a lot better than it is now. Nowadays, we live in kind of this weird time where public perception of the media is starting to turn a little bit, or a lot, because they're realizing, hey, a lot of what I see on the news is being skewed heavily to benefit one side, to benefit one narrative. And a lot of it is just pure lies. So back in the day, 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. The public I feel like they had a general, trust of the media, to where if the media said something, and this wasn't true across the board, but if the corporate press said something, generally they might regard it as true. They would regard it as true to a certain degree, a lot more than now. So back when they had that advantage, the press would spew out the stuff about Donald Trump and compare him to horrible people. Yes, and Jake Tapper was one of the worst that did this. And now we're looking at the 2024 election, and the public perception has shifted a lot in how they view the media. And they don't like it that they are being called out in this way. They don't like it because their numbers are falling very rapidly. There's only a few people now that really trust the media. But after the incident took place, Casey Hunt, the CNN host, took to X to set the record straight. And really, she didn't really set any record. She just reiterated what she said during the exchange with Donald Trump's spokesperson. And she said, you come on my show and you respect my colleagues, period. If you come on my show, you respect my colleagues. You don't call this out. I don't care what side of the aisle you stand on, as my track record clearly shows. Okay. And what was the response by Trump's spokeswoman, Karine Levitt? She had a brilliant response, and she says, you cut off my microphone for bringing up the debate moderator's history of anti-Trump lies. It's true. These are anti-Trump lies that were spewed out for years and years and years. And today, they still are being spewed out, a lot of these. This proved our point that President Trump will not be treated fairly on Thursday, yet he is still willing to go up into this 3-1 fight to bring his winning message to the American people, and he will win. So basically what she's saying, she says, it's not a fair fight. It's 3-1. For anyone to think that this is going to be a fair debate, delusional. Not going to be a fair debate. Not in a million years. This is CNN and Biden versus Donald Trump. That's what's going to happen here. I mean, just the mere fact that we don't have any audience, the mics will be cut off. They're making it as easy as possible for Joe Biden. That shows you that this is skewed in favor of Joe Biden, who is very weak and old and senile. But just in case you are dubious over this idea that Jake Tapper spread this misinformation about Trump for many years, someone on X took the liberty of making a collage of Tapper, comparing Trump to the infamous dictator. Listen.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage. This time, of course, in the United States. Donald Trump, a couple times over the weekend, referred to immigrants from South America, Africa, and Asia. He did not mention Europe. South America, Africa, and Asia as, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, which it's not hyperbole. That does very directly echo Adolf Hitler's language before World War II. To open up a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf, you would find the Nazi leader describing the mixing of non-Germans with Germans as poisoning. There's really no other way to say it. Donald Trump's language mirrors this directly.
So that is just a few examples of Jake Tapper comparing Donald Trump to Hitler. And this is the same guy who is going to be one of the moderators for the debate happening in just a few days. Think about that. But really, Jake Tapper is not the only one that we should be concerned about. He's not the only one that should face criticism. The other moderator in this debate, Dana Bash, she has also said some very interesting things about Donald Trump, including saying that the Supreme Court had made the unfortunate decision for America to keep Donald Trump on the ballot. Listen.
Here's a question that I have, because it is, again, it seems like the Supreme Court is in a bubble, or perhaps it's some of the justices are in a bubble, and they're not dealing with, when they say, oh, Congress can do this, there are members of Congress, and we can go through the list, who are never going to do anything that would make life difficult for Donald Trump. So to think that the Congress is going to solve this, they barely can get a post office name these days.
It's true. And you can go down the list of Supreme Court decisions that kicked whatever issue over across the street over to Congress, whether it is, Obamacare, which is something that the Democrats were very happy about when they did that, a little bit of a different kind of court. Voting rights, I think, is maybe the primary example of what you're saying before this. Look, unfortunately for America, the court isn't necessarily wrong that this is the way the framers wanted it to be. They wanted Congress, the people who are closest to their constituents, to be able to make the rules of the laws.
So when you look at it, it is very interesting that you constantly have these personalities on these news outlets like CNN, MSNBC coming out, and they are advancing this narrative as if there is something inherently wrong with America, how America runs, when unfortunately the Supreme Court, they made the wrong decision. They should have made the decision that Donald Trump be taken off the ballot, because they're always screaming about democracy. And whenever you actually listen to what they say with a critical ear, they kind of say things that are counterintuitive to democracy. So it's very interesting. And of course, these individuals are the same individuals that are expected to host a fair debate for Trump and Joe Biden. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump shouldn't do the debate. I think he should. But once again, I believe it's important to point these things out, because the more you point this stuff out, the more credibility that these networks and these institutions lose. And the more credibility they lose, the less of a stranglehold they have on our country and our society. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And by the way, we've been having some incredible morning shows here on Unwoke Thoughts. So join as a member. It's a lot of fun. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, I do a morning show right here on Unwoke Thoughts, and I think you would like it. So check it out. But let me know what you think about all this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.